Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Pageants and Tangents. We're up to episode 14. Today's episode is not my idea. It was Morgan's idea. Before we get into the topic of today, today is about pageant horror stories, and some of you guys, apparently a lot of you guys, have been kind enough to send some of your horror stories in. I've read some of them. I don't feel comfortable narrating them out loud. One of them mentioned feminine hygiene products, and one of them mentioned perspiration in the groin area. There's some stuff that I just don't feel comfortable as a man reading out. But before we get to the horror stories, we'll catch up with the gang because it's been a while since I've seen at least the two on the right. So Morgan, what's been up?
Hi. Working. One of my babies won Miss Vermont America, which is iconic, and we're very proud. And then I had Kenzie and I share a girl who won the Miss Austin, Texas prelim for the USA system. So nice. Bagging a couple winners, gearing up. I've got a handful of pageants coming up this weekend. And then yesterday I went and did degenerate things and got more tattoos.
Is it planned to complete the sleeve on your other arm as well?
The tattoo artist that I go to, love her. I told her I was like wanting it to be like a Miley Cyrus sleeve, and she didn't love that because she was like, I don't love the vibe of that one specifically, but she understood my vision. So my vision is a bunch of tinies all over the place. So we've got like a tiny, two tinies, tiny. So I'm probably just going to, and then I have a tiny right here. So I'm probably just going to keep adding in tinies. No biggies though, like this. Like this is not happening over here.
I've never had a tattoo. Can I ask, does it actually hurt? Like what's the pain level?
Depends on your pain tolerance. It doesn't faze me a bit. Really? Yesterday I felt literally nothing, and the tattoo artist is so cute, and she was like, sorry if that hurt. And like, I've known her it's like my freaking sister. I've known her for years. She's like, sorry if that hurt. Or she's like, with the little sword, she's like, I'm gonna go back in with some white. She's like, it's not gonna feel good. I felt nothing. Now with like this one where it's like super detailed and like there's a double cheeked up on a Tuesday, that is a booty. But like when there's a lot going on and she has to keep going over the same area and shading it nonstop, it starts to feel like if someone was like scratching a sunburn. You've had a sunburn, you've definitely accidentally scratched it. It feels kind of like that. It doesn't feel great. But then there are some people who are like, it's terrible. It's not terrible. Don't be a wuss.
Okay. All right. Sounds like pain tolerance is a thing then.
Tattoos when you're at Miss USA?
No, I do think this is because we were talking about it last time when I saw Kenzie, and Kenzie said she retired, and I said I never believe a pageant girl when she says she's retired. I will say I think if there's any way to definitively say you're retired, it's to get a big tattoo on your arm, because I don't know what system you guys compete in, but most systems still don't want a giant tattoo. So if you got a sleeve, I'd be like, that's probably too hard to cover up. So you're probably not competing in a pageant. Probably. I sort of know if I believe you. But speaking of Kenzie, how are you? How have things been?
Doing good. I had a very busy day today of coaching, which was awesome. I'm establishing my new place where I'm living. So all the girlies got to come and work in person today, which was good. Similar to Morgan, we share our lovely team queen. So it was great to see her pull that win out last weekend. And then right now I've got a lot of girls prepping for North Carolina America that's coming up in at the end of June, I believe. So all those girls are working hard, getting their scholarship essays in. So we've been busy over at the coaching business, just making sure everything's looking good and getting submitted. Personal life, my best friend got married last weekend, so that was fun. And we've just been kind of hanging out. My man and I are getting established living together, so that's been fun. Yeah. And that's about it.
Out here.
That sounds like a lot.
Living in sin.
Living in sin, retired, and having the best time.
That sounds like a lot. You mentioned it, though it's not a lot. It sounds like a lot. I looked at someone, I think it might have been you even, Kenzie. Someone posted up, I think, the schedule of the state America pageants. Are they all like within 30 to 60 days of one? I looked at the calendar and I thought it must have been
close this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because I just looked at the block and it's like they're all on at the same time. So if you're a coach or you're in the Miss America season, you must be super busy.
Yeah.
Just as a shout out again, where can people get a hold of you, Kenzie, for coaching? We like to do the plug.
Kinsey Lee Pageant Coaching on Instagram. Or if you go to my personal profile, it's linked in my bio. So you'll see it there too. Or you can DM me. If you want to DM me, that's fine too.
Sounds good. Okay. Moving on to Miss Cheekbones. I just realized I'm a coach, Morgan's a coach, Kenzie's a coach, and then there's Peyton. But Peyton's also the only one of us now that's a title holder because Haley has had to step away because of her exciting new job. Peyton, catch us up on how it's been. You are leaving for Miss Volunteer America. I don't actually want to know because it's like very real now. And it's real for me. It's probably even more real for you. But what's been happening?
I think we have 3 weeks left. I was just talking to my talent coach about that. Speaking of talent coaching, if you see my hands at all, they are covered in paint. That is a hazard of the job. I just got done with a talent session. Actually, my canvases are, and you can't see them, they're sitting all around me. They all have paint on them. They all have my subject on them. So I'm very excited looking at that. Makes me very excited. Finalizing wardrobe. All of that should be done, dusted, and fitted by the 30th. My send-off is the 30th. So that's like 2 weeks away. Memorial Day is coming up. Which is always fun in my family. We always do something at the lake or at the pool or something. So that's always fun. But yeah, I mean, I'm just brushing the dust off. It's been, 11 months now, I think, as Miss Georgia Volunteer, or it will be in next week or something like that. So yeah, dusting the cobwebs off, shaking my legs out, getting ready to walk back up on stage.
When do you compete? Well, when do you hand over your Georgia title?
In July.
Wow.
It's like right after.
Yeah, second to last week in July.
Dang, girl.
Can I also ask dumb Australian question of the day? What is Memorial Day?
Someone else take this. I'm not good at history.
Isn't it when we celebrate all of the fallen soldiers?
Yeah.
Okay, so
veterans?
That's separate to Veterans Day?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, it's different from Veterans Day.
Veterans
Day is all veterans. Memorial Day is
got it.
Those who have passed.
Yeah. Now, why they chose that day, when that day started, no freaking idea. But the banks are closed.
My work is closed.
Okay.
Your job closed?
So, I just Googled. Yeah, my work's closed too. Allegedly, so I wanted to know this is specifically behind the day too. It's because springtime flowers would be in full bloom to decorate the graves of the fallen soldiers.
Oh,
it's kind of awesome.
Okay. That's thoughtful.
I don't want to say that's nice because that's not the right word, but
I hate how embarrassing it is that like Kenzie and I both were like, I started to answer, but we were both sitting here like, maybe.
It was like, you're right, yes.
And I'm like,
well, I will just tell you that I obviously can't answer because there's so many things. Whenever I interview or work with an American person, so I was working with someone who's in Tennessee, and she said the first time her boyfriend met her, that he said to her, "I thought you were so cornbread." And I didn't know what that meant. And I don't even know if you guys know what that meant. I only found out what cornbread was the first time I spoke to Peyton about the podcast. And she got all offended. I will say also, when you said you were going to find a box of Jiffy, because you were so upset, I didn't know what cornflower was. Jiffy here is like Drano. So I thought you meant that you were so offended you were going to, chug. I only then found out that it's like cornbread flour or something, right? So that's why I ask, because I've given up trying to pretend that I know whatever you guys are talking about.
I feel like you need to do like a semester abroad and just come stay with a lot of us and bounce around like house to house.
You say that, Morgan, but which state? Because all of you are so different.
We're not close.
I need to spend a month in every state. That's like 4 years. And I don't want to be, given the way the world is going, I don't want to be kicked out when my visa expires. Now, before we get to the horror stories, Lauren here has said, love seeing this pod grow. Thank you, Lauren. I'm just looking at Instagram. Someone has asked, can you help me? Is shipping platform heels in Kenya? Probably not. I don't know if anyone has expertise in shipping things to Kenya. But let's move on. Now, I will say again, Morgan, you decided on this topic. Why did you pick this topic?
I've had so many girls tell me horror stories, and I think they're not funny. They're not funny when they're happening, obviously. They're really funny looking back. And I just think it would be a fun little break in what we normally do, because normally we're here to support you and give you advice and tips and tricks. And like we get into the nitty gritty and it's always like deep and thoughtful. I just wanted some tea. I wanted to share some tea.
Yeah,
I wanted the gossip.
There you go. I like how you try to give it a logical explanation. At the end of the day, it's just because you're a completely psychotic person and you wanted to. Yeah, okay.
We're always so supportive. And this time I want to be supportive, but in like, let's talk about your toxic. It's like, I want to talk about your toxic ex, man. Like, I just want to know. Okay.
All right. Now I'll begin. What we'll do is we won't just go one person at a time to tell all their horror stories, because I think that'll be too much. Peyton is our current title holder, so she's there snacking on stuff. That's because that's what she should be doing, and she should just be being queenly down in the bottom right corner. I'll start with one here. Now, I don't know this person wanted to be named because they didn't tell me, so I won't. All right, but this one's to do with wardrobe. We can probably have categories of horror stories. This one's to do with wardrobe. You know where this is going, all right? So my biggest pageant nightmare still makes us laugh today. Backstage, right before evening gown, my mum was helping me when the drawstring came completely out of my slip. Completely out. We were scrambling, trying to fix it, and ended up safety pinning the whole thing together. And of course, because pageant loves drama, the safety pins started opening during the final walk. I was praying nothing fell apart while smiling like everything was perfect. And the wildest part, I won that pageant. It's a story we still laugh about and a reminder that sometimes beauty is pain and a whole lot of improvising. How do safety pins open? Aren't they the ones that literally clasp shut?
It depends on how much pressure is being applied to them, because like if that bad boy
they don't like close all the way.
Fabric, that thing's gonna. Kenzie, pretty sure you did something.
I do have a safety pin. Oh, I thought that light was gonna be better, but it was worse. Sorry. Yeah, this is a personal tale here, and I was competing for my state title for and I'll name organizations, for the Miss USA organization. Love it dearly. Went on to become Miss North Carolina USA that same year. I am religious about my wardrobe. And to Morgan's point too, usually she's like, go make sure everything fits, the week of. Like I was taking it to my seamstress 3 or 4 days before I left. So I knew my wardrobe was great and my swimsuit never changed. So I kept it from the year prior and I practiced in it every time I did my modeling. I go to put my swimsuit bottoms on for preliminary night and they are no longer sewn together. So the hip had like 2 circles and a piece of fabric in between. I'm not saying somebody cut it. All I'm saying is that the swimsuit bottoms were fine when I put them in my bag, and when I go to put my bottoms on, they were not fine anymore. And the threads had literally just been snipped right out of there. The beautiful side of this, though, is that we were competing North and South Carolina. We're all in the same dressing room. So I had a handful of South Carolina girls who would go on after me that were either offering me the swimsuits off their bodies, or they said, oh, I have a spare, like, what size are you? You can throw this one on. I thought that was so gracious and so kind. I'm a hard size to fit. So I decided to safety pin my bottoms with 2 safety pins and pray to the good Lord and all things holy that when I walked on stage, those were not going to pop off, because if they did, I would have been naked on stage and that probably wouldn't have gone well. So if you look at any of my swimsuit photos from prelim night, you can see these 2 safety pins holding my bottoms together. Yes. And my sweet father sewed it that night and I was able to compete again and it was great. But I was terrified and never found out what happened or what didn't happen, but it was a pretty clean cut. So
that was always when I first started getting into competing in pageants. One of the first pieces of advice I got from another contestant was to bring a lock and key to actually lock all of my wardrobe up in a garment bag, because she literally said contestants will cut and mess up and stain your wardrobe intentionally. which is luckily something I never experienced. It is something I've had other people experience, but it's not something I've experienced, thank God. But that was like baffling to me. But what I love though is like Kenzie's, even though it's like things that make you go, all of the other queens backstage literally like ripping their swimsuits off of their body and being like, here, girl, put this thing on. And you're like, thank you so much. But like,
I had a girl that was like so sweet, literally like brought me 2 swimsuits. It was like, do you like black or red? And I was like, wow, that's so
I like a supportive queen.
I know, truly. It was so lovely.
After this.
Yeah.
I had one girl send in that she had ordered a custom swimsuit, and when it came in, it looked a lot less like a swimsuit and a lot more like something between like Halloween costume and what a gymnast would compete in on stage.
Okay.
Horrible. So bad. The stitching, so bad. And the worst part was when she was like, I'm not paying for this. She still ended up having to pay, because I was like, how much did you have to pay for this? She still ended up having to pay. Hold on. She told me $225 for materials. Girl, that thing looked like it came from the house.
I'm sorry. I kind of know how much material costs. There's no material on earth that's going to cost $225 for the amount of material a swimsuit has.
Thank you. Mortified. And I had another queen tell me that she had a custom gown made and it took her over a year to receive it.
I got a couple of those too.
And still had to pay after receiving it, got invoiced for $150 shipping bill after paying for a custom couture gown.
Okay. All right. If I will say, because all right, we had wardrobe and now we're going into like shipping disasters. But I will say there's an art or maybe a science to saying how much like something is worth, so that when it comes through customs, you don't get the hefty custom tax. And I can more understand a gown because at least it's big. The swimsuit being $225 for materials, I'm very dubious about that one.
Obscene. But a gown taking a year, y'all?
That's crazy. They made my Miss USA gown in 3 weeks. Like there's no reason it should take a year.
How can your body changes so much in a year? How can you even measurement wise? I don't know. I don't know how that would
stress
work.
Me out. Good for her for not panicking.
Well, I know that a lot of you guys, the prices to get like a couture custom gown in America or in Australia, basically in the Western world, is through the roof. So then a lot of you go and get like, I don't know, Philippines is a big one, maybe Vietnam. And the thing is, sometimes it works out really well. And when it does, you save literal thousands of dollars. I have heard so many horror stories about those things either never turning up. And the last thing you want if you're competing for a big pageant is for your gown not to be there, right? So that not turning up, or I don't know which is worse. You guys tell me. It doesn't turn up, or it turns up, it's the wrong color, okay? Or it doesn't fit. It's some combination of it, like the cut is completely wrong. And
I did have a girl, her dress, this was personal, but for a national level, she did international, and it came in, and the translation between inches and like centimeters was so drastic. But I feel like it coming in and not fitting or like being really messed up is more insulting than not even getting it. Like at that point, I don't want it, because if I get my hopes up and try this thing on and I spent thousands and it looks like a Shein gown, mental breakdown.
Yeah, 100%.
I'd lose my mind. 100%.
I also don't understand how you can get it wrong, because when I hear about measurements going wrong, my first question is, well, I imagine that you took the measurements and sent them, and it's always a yes. And so how can it still be wrong? I don't understand. I mean, by the way, if it's a centimeters to inches conversion issue, an inch is 2.5 centimeters. If you got it wrong, either the dress would be 2.5 times too large or 2.5 times too small, in which case you'd be thinking Barbie doll. So I don't know how that can go wrong. Can I just also point out, I love the fact that Peyton's just in the bottom. That's
what I'm telling you. It's a girl, eat the popcorn, eat it. give the facial expressions, and keep your classy title holder mouth sealed.
We're not. We don't want to stress Peyton out. I'm looking at her and she's like, it's like actually. Oh dear me! I will say these are like the worst of the worst stories. It's not like we're saying that this happens all the time, but they do happen. So I would personally bring a lock and key anytime I competed in anything where my luggage was left. And I do that when I'm traveling. So I just think that's sensible. We started with I was going to say we started with the wardrobe one.
Yeah, sticking on wardrobe super quick. I had a submission, I'll keep her anonymous, that their director oversaw multiple other girls, wasn't just one group, and multiple girls showed up to a national competition, showed up in the same dress, just different colors, custom gowns. And the director, I guess, never told them, hey, so-and-so, Miss XYZ State has this gown. Do you want to change it? And vice versa. So they were competing against each other at the same national competition in the same gown, different colors. Okay.
I would rather do that than one year I had a competitor at a national level, and this was during a time where that system specifically made all of the contestants wear a gown from the exact same designer. So they all had to wear the same designer.
Okay.
2 girls had the same gown, different colors, but they called my client and said, you need to pick a different gown. Mind you, my client was higher up in the alphabet, would have competed first. They didn't even say, hey, just so you know, you and North Carolina, Kenzie Hansley are in the same dress. No, they straight up called her and said, pick a different gown. Y'all, that was the hill I was willing to die on, because I was like, you will not change that gown. She did. It was beautiful. I was honestly glad she changed it. The gown she changed it to was gorgeous. But like the audacity.
Hang on, who said that she had to change her gown?
It was, I don't remember if it was the director or if it was someone from the team of the designer. I don't remember which one.
Okay, can I just say, I don't understand this, because when we were on last week with Kenzie and Gianna, we were talking about when you stand up for yourself. The director doing a power play like that is one thing. The designer?
And it would have been their fault, because
they sold them the same gown.
They sold them the same gown in 2 different colors. You should have pulled the SKU and the barcode and said, like, oh, sorry, this one's taken.
Right.
That just sounds so ridiculous.
But
like, when does the designer get off telling you that you have to change what you're wearing?
I just think, to me, it's a crazy concept that you have 51 women competing and they all have to be dresses from the exact same designer, because there's only...
Yeah, and designers are, like, everyone knows that, like, a Sherry Hill dress is going to fit a tall girl versus a short girl very, very differently. So there's a reason that we all kind of find your designer that works for your body type and then go from there.
It's actually hysterical, because, like, when you talk to clients, sometimes they'll be like, oh, like, I have to wear Giovanni, Sherry doesn't fit me right, or I have to wear Sherry, Giovanni doesn't fit me right. Like, they have their sets that they're like, this is my go-to. So to just be like, you're stuck with this one brand is...
I'd panic.
Chaos to me. It's different if a brand sponsors an opening number. That's one thing, but it was like full-fledged evening gown only.
Wait, so this is, I told you guys, I've been in the game for 4 years now, but I still feel like a newbie half of the time. So do the designers keep track of who's wearing what to
They
what?
were supposed to.
They're supposed to, yeah.
And they didn't. Well, they made a boo-boo. A big boo-boo.
And that's like across the board, right? Like Sherry Hill's supposed to, Giovanni's supposed to. Like,
that happens like with like any national pageant. Technically, if you're like going to get a true custom gown made, these designers are supposed to make note of your custom gown, the SKU number. If you like said, oh, I want the top of 654 and the bottom of 231, they're supposed to know. And then if I come back in and I'm like, oh, I want this top, this bottom, they're supposed to lead you astray. Be like, sorry, someone already has this, let's change this. So the idea is that you don't show up to a national competition in the identical gown of somebody else. It might be similar, different color, different stone patterns, which is how they get away with it. But that's happened more times than not to friends of mine.
There was when Peyton says she still feels like a newbie sometimes, I still feel like that sometimes, because when I hear certain things happening, I don't understand how everyone accepts it as okay. So an example, probably even worse than that, there was an Australian pageant. Well, there's an Australian pageant over here. It's now under a new director. She didn't make people go to the same store, which I think is ridiculous. I think people should be allowed to shop where they want. But if you went to that store, I kid you not, you got extra points in the final scoring. And
that's scary.
Going along with it, and I just had to stop and say, hang on, this is okay by you that if you get your gown from that store, you literally get points. And I'm like, well, you have to because you don't want to leave points on the table. But how is that okay? Like, I don't understand sometimes when Peyton says she feels like a newbie, I sometimes go like, look at some of the things that happen and go, hang on, how does this make any, because if that was me, I would not be okay with that.
And honestly, it's kind of like talking the post that you made where you were like, I don't like when these pageants are forcing these girls to work with sponsors and stuff. Same thing for shopping. Part of me wants to be like, yo, like, are you getting a kickback? Like, is that why you're saying these girls have to go to this store specifically? Like, are you getting a percentage?
People sometimes they like to say, well, if it's sponsored, let's say it's free, so there's no money changing hands. I'm like, hang on, let's think this through. If, let's say, I send someone to Morgan, right, which I would because I trust her, right? And let's say she gives an initial free consult. Okay, great, no money changing hands. That being said, there is a higher than likely chance, if Morgan knows what she's doing, that person then goes on to have another session or multiple sessions and then becomes a paying client. And to say that there's no money changing hands, that's ridiculous, right? And I don't mind it happening. What I really want is just transparency and letting the girls have free choice. If I was in charge of Peyton, I would not be telling her where to go and get her gown, who to use as an interview coach, who to use as a trainer. I would be much more like, and I've given some thought to this because I thought about directing. I'd say, look, here are the people that I recommend, but I'm sure there's people you worked with before because you managed to win the state title, so you know what you're doing, and I want to be on your team. We've talked about this. Like, I want to put my contestant first. So let's have a discussion, and, if you need some help with extra people, we'll work that out. But to think that you're forcing your contestants to go to a certain store and then if there's money changing hands, I'm sorry, aren't there like FCC rules against this? This doesn't seem like it's okay to me. This seems like insider trading.
Makes me wonder. I'm always curious about it. Speaking of forced sponsor work, I have a great one.
Can we move on? All right, you go for it. Peyton's going to keep snacking on. Peyton, what are we snacking on?
I have two, but I guess, I don't know. Kenzie, do you have any like personal trainer nightmares? Because I mean, I know.
Yeah, I got some personal ones. But
I know you have a few, but I have one. So before I go into
not Morgan though. Morgan's amazing. I was
going to say, if Kenzie's horror story is about this trainer whose first name and surname was
blonde. No. I have one, and then I have some similar ones kind of across the board that I'll kind of like mimic, I guess. Me personally, can you also hear me? Because my AirPod just went out.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Me personally, let's just put it this way, that for a very, very long time, I was afraid of salt. I think I mentioned this last week. I was so scared to eat salt. I know you need salt to survive, but like I would grill my chicken, no seasonings, like no pepper, no salt, no nothing, because I was told that it would make me fat. And so I stopped eating it. And I would also get frowny faces or smiley faces if my meal was a good meal or not. And I was not the only person that had this experience. There's a couple of us that all experienced that. So it was basically like if your meal wasn't like under a certain calorie, it was a sad face, which is not the way to do it because we're all working out different time. Like the way that I'm moving my body is not the same way as my friend was moving her body. We're getting the same experiences and responses. So when I came to Morgan, I was traumatized from eating and working out, to say the least. So we had to work through that together and ended up working out great. So it was fun. But I got a lot of messages similar to that, basically saying that like their former trainer said this about them. My favorite one though that I will share, some sweet girl of mine messaged me and said my fitness coach was looking at me and saying, this is going to have to do about her body like less than 4 days before her national title. And at the time, they were a teenager.
Oh, good. Mm-hmm. Oh, good.
Mm-hmm. Guaranteed. Sorry, I don't care. Guaranteed it was a freaking man too, because no woman would ever.
Okay, I was going to ask that as well. Is it in the realm of possibility like a female trainer would ever say that? I mean, it's disgusting that anyone would say that, but it just sounded like a man thing.
There in this section of the fitness industry, there's not even a handful of female trainers. It's predominantly male trainers in the pageant section of the fitness industry. Mm-hmm. So, but no, the female trainers that I know of in the pageant realm of fitness, no. And one of them that I adored just announced like she's retiring and stepped back. So I literally messaged her. I was like, don't leave me out here alone. No, like I can't do that. I had one girl message me and said, I'm just reading this verbatim and adding in a blank. When blank was my trainer, he would make me take pics of my food. I was good about doing it when I was in college. Now I'll stop there. In my coaching app, you do have the option to log food photos. But I tell everyone, fully optional. If you want to take pics of your food and send it in, dope. If you don't, dope. Don't care. But it's an option. It's cool. This one was mandatory. It was required for every meal and snack. I sent him a pic one day of my potatoes and chicken. The potatoes were small and red. He sent me a paragraph about how I am undisciplined for eating donuts for dinner and all the other girls are ready and eating well. He then called my mom and said we needed to have a come to Jesus meeting. Somebody did need a come to Jesus meeting on that conversation. She flipped out and was like, WTF is this man doing? He then sent flowers to my house to apologize, and I never spoke to him again.
I don't even know where to begin. Did he think the red potatoes were donuts?
It sounds like he thought, first of all, clearly you hungry if you looking at potatoes and you think they're donuts. Because trust me when I tell you, I can look at a picture of potatoes and a picture of donuts and they are not the same. They're not the same.
Do you think he thought they're like the little munchkins?
I'm guessing he must have thought they were like the little Dunkin' Donut, like
donut holes.
Yes, the donut holes.
And then y'all, that was a client of mine. I had one client when we did a consult, she signed up, loved her guts, who told me that she was told to track the calories in her toothpaste.
No.
Her toothpaste?
Toothpaste.
You don't eat toothpaste.
You should just like.
Who's out there swallowing the? It's an American thing. You guys eat your toothpaste. We spit it out.
Not me.
Oh my God. Who said a coach that had me eating? This is what drives me crazy, and I'll get into it a little deeper if y'all ever need me to. But a coach that had me eating 1,200 calories a day for 6 months straight. I lost my period. That happened to me when the last coach I worked with prior to getting my certification so I could start understanding things, I was at 1,200 a day. I wasn't for 6 months. I want to say I was like for 5. But I lost my cycle. It screwed up my hormones so badly. And typically it can be because your calories are too low, but typically it's because your fat intake is too low because fats feed your hormones.
Yeah.
Typically it's because your fat intake is too low. But yeah, a girl of mine said I had a coach that had me eating 1,200 calories a day for 6 months, lost her period. But she knew she'd found a love story when she found me because she was like, when I'm feeling bad, I want Chick-fil-A. I was like, girl, Chick-fil-A is on the meal plan. What are you talking about?
I think I had Chick-fil-A once a week with you.
Chick-fil-A is, girl, why you got an 8-count nugget? Get 12, Charlotte.
Well, I mean, I think the proof is in the pudding, right? Peyton is anyway. Well, what I wanted to just clarify, I think, I don't know if this is a male thing. I will say, as a coach who's worked with young women who have eating disorders, to the point, right, to be specific. We were at a tennis training camp, and I was told in private that I needed to go with this young girl when we were at this training camp, watch her weigh herself, and then watch her report the number back. If the number fell below a certain level, basically the psychiatrists were going to come in and take her out of the house and put her in an institution, because that's how ingrained the eating disorder had become. Now, hers wasn't. This is what I think a lot of people don't understand. Her disorder had nothing to do with weight. It had everything to do with needing control, because she was 16, 17, and she felt like there was nothing she should control. And by the way, vice captain of the school, extraordinarily intelligent, and was still able to hit a mean tennis ball. It wasn't like you'd notice, oh, she's collapsing halfway through. And I think it's just really important that everyone, not just the guys, but I think guys need to hear this more, the trainers, or anyone, any director. You can say one thing off the cuff remark about how a woman, or frankly a man, but how a young woman looks. I don't think people really understand how long that scar can last. I remember I have a very good friend competing in a state pageant. Someone said to her after she did her first pageant, "You did really well. But if you had just lost like 5 or 10 pounds, you would have won." She ended up with an eating disorder for a year. From that one, and by the way, incredibly smart again, incredibly intelligent, but that one remark just hits some people bounces off, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you tell me I'm fat, like fine, you're fat too. But for some people, they are particularly vulnerable to it. And I don't think we talk enough about how one offhand comment can create an eating disorder that can last for years and end up really badly. But I'm not saying that, for example, when you're yelling at someone, that's even in the same ballpark. If you're going to tell a young woman who's training with you that she looks, that'll have to do, right? I mean, that's not even the worst I've heard. I've heard a lot worse. Mm-hmm. If you think that's okay, no. And I don't think you should be working, frankly, with anyone at all. That's my soapbox moment. Oh. I don't know if you guys want to chime in, but I've had experience with this. It needs to stop.
I've heard one horror story where she told me that after she won her state level pageant, they were gathered in a room together doing like a celebration with everyone, and like the sponsors were there, family, friends, former title holders. And the trainer sat down and drew out a picture of what her body should look like for nationals. Mm-hmm. Girl, I'm gonna tell you right now, you hire me, one of the main things, my consults are very, what you hear me tell you to expect from me, it's the same from every girl. Not like what your plan's gonna look like, but like what you can expect from me as your coach. And one thing I always say is your body is your freaking business. So like every week when we're checking in, you tell me, I really want to focus on my inner thighs. I really want to focus on my abs or the back of my arms. Like if there's an area that's bothering you, let me know. But also if you change your mind and you're like, girl, I want to be Miss Big Booty Judy on stage. Like I want my cheeks so thick that my booty is clapping before the audience gets a chance to bet. Like we are gonna 180. We are gonna Tokyo drift this thing the other direction. And like we are about to, girl, you about to be in a bulk and we gonna eat. Like the concept of which, I mean, I guess coaches do this with you guys all the time. The concept of telling someone what they should look like in a national pageant. Don't tell a girl you need, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Where do you draw the line? Because like y'all are told what your hair should look like, what your gown should look like, what your interview should look like. You're told what your body should be shaped like. Like it feels like, and this is what we talk about all the time, y'all aren't actually the ones who get to be in control of this. Like you're the one who you're just the Barbie and they get to play Barbie with you, but like you don't get to fully be yourself. And that sucks, dude. Mm-hmm. Like,
well, this is why we spoke about the importance of standing up for yourself. I will say, and I don't know, Kenzie, because you've done so many pageants and you work with a lot of delegates like I do, I sometimes feel, because as a coach, I put the ball back in your guys' court. I always want to know what you want, and tell me what you want to work on. Tell me what you think. Tell me how you're feeling. Not me telling you what to do. But I will say, I feel that some of you guys are so traumatized by experience with other people telling you what to do that when I ask you what you want, that's like a come to Jesus moment, because you guys don't know, and you actually are really uncomfortable even thinking about what is it that I want. And I find that very heartbreaking, if I'm completely honest. Kenzie, I don't know if you've had that experience, but I will ask my clients, like, what do you want? And they're like that. I mean, have you ever had similar experiences?
Yeah, I myself had that experience. Then I've worked with dozens of girls now at this point who, I make the analogy all the time, and this sounds so bad, but pageant contestants are treated as racehorses. We are literally bet upon on those stupid little USB boards. We're bet on those. If there's a void board, we're talked about on there. And then we have these coaches and these trainers who will come in and not see who you are as a person and then make you look like every other racehorse in the game. And then they set you all free, and it's whatever the best racehorse wins. And I don't think that's how pageants should be treated. I do agree there are certain systems that have a certain look. And if my girls come to me and they're like, hey, I really want to do Miss USA, Miss America, they're going to be two different vibes of people. I really want to do Miss Ideal, whatever it is. Like, every pageant has its own preference on what your service looks like, on what your modeling looks like, whatever that is. So when I have a client now, and when I was asked this question by an interview coach that I came to love that is no longer in practice, I sat down with her and she was like, well, who are you? Who do you want to be? And I sobbed for like a good hour of our session, and because I didn't know the answer. I had been trained to, follow the rules and be pretty and smile and say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, thank you so much. And I didn't really know like what my dream was, or I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how I was going to do it because I never had the chance to speak it. So now when I'm working with those girls, it's that same realization of, I'm here to help make you sound better. I'm here to guide you in the right direction, but I'm not going to tell you what to do, how to do it. It's more of a, let me put up the guardrails and help you navigate it, but I'm not going to steer you in a direction that's not going to be you. Because they don't need another copycat version of me.
I just want to echo what you said. The number of times I have a few private clients who I work with like once a week or thereabouts. The number of them that the first session was sobbing, and these are girls who don't, or women who don't normally cry, and they almost always say, I'm not normally like this. That should be a sign that something is quite wrong, because these are people who've gone to some other very well-known coaches. And I just feel there's too much of telling these. I think the racehorse analogy is really scarily accurate.
Yeah.
Because you can also think, what do you do with a racehorse when it's injured? What do you do with a horse when it's, broken its ankle? It's not pretty, right? Glue got to come from somewhere. And that analogy is really, really scary. I've never heard it put that. That's going to haunt me for the rest of my life.
Yeah, sorry. I got so fed up one day prepping for Miss USA, and I was like, I'm not someone's racehorse. I'm not these pageant fans' racehorses. Like, I'm myself. I'm me. I want to go have fun. I want to enjoy it. And I don't want there to be a pageant page that's ranking me before you even get on stage. That's crazy.
Oh, okay. I just, sorry, Peyton, you go, because you haven't been saying much. You go.
Somebody on Instagram said, sorry, y'all, Twizzler. The USB board is dead now on Facebook.
What is the USB board? I've not heard of this before.
Have you heard of a void board? Before I get into USB, have you heard of void board, Adrian?
It sounds sus. That's all I'm going to voyeur.
So, void board is a website. The USB group is a group on Facebook. I actually tried to join it once because I heard they were trashing one of my clients, and I was like, let me in there. Let me in. And they denied me. They wouldn't let me in. But it's literally a Facebook group that's private. You have to apply to join or like fill out the questionnaire. All they do is trash talk. They will call contestants
the worst.
Ugly, fat, stupid, whatever. They dog these girls out like they are not those human beings. They will trash directors.
Is it just USA?
All of them.
All of the systems. I do think it's a little more USA heavy. I feel like void board is a little more America heavy.
America heavy.
But there is there is no holding back. It is keyboard warriors to the upteenth degree.
It's scary.
They said we call the group the nursing home.
Oh, I love that.
Wait, I'm dead. That's crazy.
Because we're on horror stories, because there's different categories. For me, there's a separate circle of hell that is reserved specifically, and this, don't ever call me a pageant expert, okay? Pageant experts, the only thing that's a worse label than that is pageant critic. I'm sorry. The idea that you claim that your job is to go around, and they're normally men who call themselves pageant experts or critics, you go around and critique young women's appearance. What is wrong with you? I do not understand this. And I've heard certain stories. I was on a call with a client who's a director just this weekend, and she was telling me there's a very well-known pageant critic who was at Miss USA last year. I think he may have been invited by the director. I don't know, but he was swanning around like everyone should know him. And he had basically, it had all gone to his head. And I don't understand that. I don't. Like, I get really afraid when people give me any sort of, oh, you know so much, or you're that guy. I try to keep it super real. That's how afraid, I don't want anything to go to my head, probably to a fault. But for people, can we just debunk, like, psychologically, the sort of person who would go on Facebook, first off, it is the nursing home, right? But Facebook, start a group where all you do is trash talk other, like, young women. What's wrong with you? Like, how miserable must you be in your life to want to do that? I don't understand it.
Low-key, bro, it's giving sociopath. Like, one of the key things of, like, a sociopath is, like, no empathy. It's giving sociopath. Like, I'm like, there's, like, I could never, like, but also, I don't know, like, I grew up where don't write a check. Don't let your mouth write a check that your butt can't cash. Like, basically, run your mouth, run these hands. Like, I've never been in a fight, but I also knew if I'm sitting here and running my mouth and talking bad, it gives somebody every right to come up and whoop my behind. So that wasn't me. It wasn't my vibe. Like, I'm not going to sit here and talk about you, because if I'm not willing to say it to your face, I'm not going to say it about you. Like, it's not.
Yeah. That's what I think. One of the worst parts about social media is the anonymity gives a lot of these people courage. They would never ever say it to your face. And look, I'm not a violent person, never punched anyone or anything like that. But even that, like, if you said something like that to one of my clients, you and I are going to have words. And I have yelled at people. I've been yelled at by drunk people at pageants, by the way, directors. But I would yell at you in public if you dared, or at the very least, I'm going to have serious questions about, did you say, show them the receipts, so to speak. I see that you send this to so-and-so, explain. And then the number of people you see the blood drain, I just feel like it's very easy to be courageous when you can hide. Like, say it to my face, say it to her face, then we'll see how courageous you are. Peyton, you okay?
Too much time's on my hands.
Yeah. Daniel Phelps said the USB board was shut down after Chesley died due to being reported to attorneys being notified about people trashing her. That's the only reason it was shut down.
Can I just say also, this is why, and I'm sorry if you guys like this or do this, pageant hot picks, I will take this to the grave. I don't do them. Why? Because you might say this is a stretch, but ABC, if I critique someone, you got to think, if you're not a pageant girl, you won't understand this. Your life, your dream has been to be Miss USA, Miss America, Miss Universe, Miss Volunteer America. That's your dream. Okay? You're entitled to your dream, by the way. It's not for anyone to say that dream is worthy or not. You spent years, literal blood, sweat, and tears, together with way too much money on this dream. And then some rando on social takes one look at you and does a wear and tear. Oh, that gown looks terrible on her. And that was your dream gown, right? And you maybe got a second mortgage, or your mum had to take a second job to pay for it, right? Or you do the pageant hot picks and you don't know these girls from a bar or soap. The worst part is that you pretend to because you read their bio, but really what you're doing is ranking them on their headshot.
100%.
This is why I will not do pageant hot picks, because if you care about the women, you cannot tell me it's of any benefit to them. If you rank them first, you're filling their head up with steam and smoke. If you rank them last, people are going to see that and they're not going to feel good about it. And very often you leave out the women who are doing the actual work. And what are they going to think? I'm doing all the work. That's what I joined pageantry for. No one's noticing me. If I could click one thing, I'd probably take out the coaches giving young women the eating disorders first. But pageant hot picks to me would have to be very, very close. Because you do it for clicks, you do it for views. I get that. Do something else. Please find a way to empower the women, not to judge them. I'll get off my soapbox now. I think it's quite well known that I do not like pageant hot picks, but that's a whole other, the pageant critics, the hot picks, the fan pages. And you guys at home, please, if you get picked, don't share it. You're only encouraging them. Don't.
The worst part is
Mute them.
I had a couple clients call me fully crashing out because coaches were posting hot pics.
Oh no.
And calling me crashing out because their coach was doing, this is who I think is going to win, and choosing a different client than them.
Yes.
So that would be like, okay, the year Kenzie competed at USA, I had a handful of girls, but just off the top, at one point, Kenzie and Crystal Foote stood side by side in a lineup. That would be like if I posted and my hot pick was Kenzie Hansley or Crystal Foote for Miss USA 22, whatever. For what? You coach multiple girls. You cannot sit here and say,
Then pick one.
this is who I'm supporting. These girls have spent hundreds, if not thousands, on you. I mean, I've heard that there's some, I don't know what walking and interview coaches charge, but I've had people come to me who are like, oh my gosh, you're so cheap. And I'm like, thank you. Because they paid $5,000 to work with their prior personal trainer and then still had to pay on top of that. So I'm like, these coaches these girls are paying you hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. And you're going to sit there and have the audacity to say that this is my front runner, this is my lead horse. Go see Biscuit. What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Can I just ask on a slightly different topic? Was there an actual photo of you, Kenzie, standing next to Crystal?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So Crystal's one of my best friends, like one of my very, very good friends. Yes.
Yeah,
and I'm tall. I'm like 5'11". So I'm a tall girl, but Crystal is like, I usually tower over people. And then I'm standing beside Crystal and I'm like, oh my God.
I had that exact same experience at Miss Volunteer America last year. I didn't know who Crystal was, and I was seated next to Joanne of Tennessee, who very kindly shuttled me into the front row when she found out who I was. So I was here being pulled along, meeting all these people. I'm like, oh my, what's happening? And then she introduces me, said, this is Crystal Foote. And because I'm over 6 foot, like I'm 6'1", right? And then I'm used to most people here, right? Just because even if they're 5'10", 5'11" in heels, okay, it's here, but a lot of them are down there. I'm looking here and then it's like, at that moment where I always said as a joke, I'm going to stop interviewing people when I interview a pageant contestant who's taller than me. And now I'm a liar because I interviewed Crystal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
She's
if she wears, by the way, she's got her own shoe brand, right? Footwear. If she wears those things, I'm not coming out well in this photo. I probably have to stand on a box just to be on a level with her.
I looked tiny beside her.
My husband is 6'4". And when she came to shoot with us for the first time, I told him, I was like, she's 6'4". And, you know, when you hear that number, you always think like, there's no way. Like she's exaggerating, right?
6'4" and 4-inch heels, right?
I hug her. She goes to shake Josh's hand. And this man, he typically is used to like having to like, you know, being tall, you hunch. So you're like, you know, able to talk to people. for the first time in a long time, he stood up fully straight and he shook her hand. And then she went to go change and he walks over and he was like, she's actually 6'4". And I was like, yeah. He's like, that is a tall woman. Like, that's crazy. I was like, this is iconic.
Can I get your guys feedback on this? Because the first comment when people meet me in person, because I say that I'm tall and that I say I'm just over 6 foot, the first comment I get from all of you when you see me in person is, oh, you actually are that tall. What's happening that you don't
give tall?
When I tell you that what's happening with people in your life that you just flat out don't believe a man when he tells you how tall he is? What's going on?
A lot of men lie about their height, but also I don't know, because when I meet people in person, it's either you're taller than I thought you were or you're tinier than I thought you were. I'm like, so am I looking like short and thick on the gram? Like, what are we giving here? So, and also too, maybe it just has to do with like people that you photographed yourself with, because everyone thinks I'm short because they don't assume that my husband is 6'4" and I'm 5'7". So like, I'm not tall, but we have a major discrepancy between us. So maybe it's like, if you take a picture with a tall woman or a woman in 6-inch heels, then if I put on 6-inch heels, I'm tall as crap. Sure. We're gonna be nose to nose. So maybe they're like, oh, he's like a 5'10" king.
That's a logical and
it's
well-reasoned
really insulting, though, isn't it? Like, you just want to be
my initial thought just went to, how bad is the dating scene that you can't trust a man when he tells you how tall he is?
Oh, men in the state, so 100%. They will be 5'7", look you dead in your eyes and say they are 6 foot tall. These men are, I don't know the word for it besides delusional. Whatever beyond delusional is.
Horror stories. I don't want to go into dating horror stories because that would be a horror.
Another time.
But that doesn't work out so well when you meet in person? Like, if you're 5'8" or 5'10" and the guy says he's 6 foot and you go to meet and you're looking down on them, at that point, isn't the gig up? Like, the guy's a liar. So it's over, right?
100%
I mean,
it's over.
I don't understand. I don't know. Anyway.
Crazy. Okay. We did trainers.
I'm
assuming y'all have other coaches, right?
Well, I have a state director one, which is pretty painful.
I've got some director ones over here.
I have a coach one.
We've been on for almost an hour, so let's move to the wrap. So Morgan, you go one, Kenzie goes one, and Peyton can move on to dessert.
Okay, get your licorice, girl. Didn't you have the red? Yeah, is that Twizzlers?
Yeah,
that's my jam. Okay, so. Again, I'm having to verbatim this one. Blank, a person's name, and then in parentheses, a sponsor of that state pageant, stayed in my room. This is a contestant, paid by me for Miss Fill in the State weekend. Was all over me the whole weekend. It's a lady, so it wasn't like creepy.
Oh my God.
And then proceeded to badmouth every girl to me. So basically, there is a sponsor who is a coach staying in a contestant's room, paid by said contestant. Sponsor/coach is trashing all of the other contestants to this one contestant. When I lost, I was so sad. And I said to her, maybe this isn't for me. She was like, yeah, maybe. And then never spoke to me again. Claimed the winner, although she body shamed her to me the whole weekend, and then continued to post me afterwards on socials as her client.
Fantastic.
Complex.
That sounds so bad. It sounds like it was written by AI, like ChatGPT. It sounds like, write me a pageant horror story and include every element possible.
Unfortunately, I can vouch for this one 110% because this is my client and I know who she is referring to, and I think it's legit. Yeah. So
wow.
That's next level. The only saving grace in that story, and it's a small one, is that at least it wasn't a guy coach. If it was a male coach,
I was getting nervous until you said it was a woman.
Yeah, I'd be calling police. Yeah, there's I don't know if you guys have something similar to this in the States, when I was coaching, because I was working with, below the age young women, we needed a working with children check, WWCC. And what happens is you send in your credentials and it's a police check. The police run any complaints against you. And if you've had any particular complaint, criminal complaints, you're not allowed to work with anyone under the age. Do you guys have something like that in the States?
No. And I'm going to tell you right now.
You kind of should.
To be doing background checks on who they're hiring.
Yeah.
Kind of staggering. You don't. Okay, someone please get on that. If you are in law enforcement or in politics, please do that. That's pretty horrific. Kenzie, can you top that? Not that I want you to, but can you?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just give like I'm done with my coaches one. I have a director one if we're ready to pivot yet. I don't know if we're ready for that.
Yeah. Because the other one that I was submitted was a director one. So
this is a personal one for me. Actually, let me start off with somebody who submitted one, and then we'll just like roll from there. Because I think this gets into how sometimes controlling and overbearing directors can be. So I got sent that, quote, "We had a local director years ago tell a girl whose platform was all about sun safety and skin cancer that she should get a double mastectomy because it would help boost her platform in front of the judges."
What?
I don't think so.
This can't be real, can it?
I know this lovely, sweet old title holder.
They said cut your yitties off.
Because it would help sell your platform.
Sell?
Because we're selling things now. We can't just support.
So I think that's insane. That's probably the craziest thing I've ever heard. But in the same ballpark of not even the same. This might make mine sound better. This might make mine sound so much better. In a similar route of directors, I was a younger pageant contestant competing, and my director at the time was very hands-on. Is a good word that I would use perhaps to say. So hands-on, in fact, that my fingernail polish could only be baby pink. My lipstick could only be a shade of Barbie pink. I actually had to go, I was sent the MAC number. I still have one that sits in my makeup drawer to like scare me sometimes, just, to feel something. So I have one of those still in there. Oh, hi puppies. That's how I felt too when I look at it. So I can only wear a certain shade of lipstick, certain nail color. So much so that I got my nails done one time. Oh, my light died. I got my nails done one time for New Year's. And they were black with sparkles on it. And I took a photo, not for pageants, just like personal photo that I posted. And I immediately got a text saying, "You need to change your nail color right now. Your nails should never be black." Mind you, I was not going to a pageant appearance. I was just being a teenager. I then a couple months later, arrived to a local competition. And at the time that I had this director, they were also approving every outfit I wore ever. Arriving to the appearance, at the appearance, leaving the appearance. Anything that I was photographed in had a crown and sash on, which is normal, right? Like you have to get approval from maybe, I don't know, from your directors. So I finally had been under my belt a couple of months and I was getting trusted. So they said, go to the sponsor, they'll dress you appropriately. No big deal. Wear the dress, go to the event. Sounds good. Went and tried on this gorgeous Giovanni prom dress that everyone and their mother knows with the little mesh skin toned. It's like double-sided skin tone mesh sides. Okay. Like this much skin is showing. Prom dress, I was a teenager, so it made sense for me to wear something like that to a local pageant. I was on stage doing things that a state title holder or a title holder would do at a pageant, and got a phone call from my director yelling at me, 16, that I looked like a slut. I was inappropriate. That if I wanted to be a representation of this organization, I was doing it the wrong way. And that several people had called and complained about what I was wearing. Mind you, a sponsor gave me the outfit. A sponsor approved the outfit. Most times when sponsors hand you things, you say, "Thank you so much for your generous contribution." You wear it, you smile, you leave. I sobbed at this event so hard that my mom, I ran my pageants. My mom graciously made sure I was there, but I handled my own business. My mom had to take over the phone and tell him to stop yelling at me, that we would chat when I got home. That I needed to finish out this event and be strong and smile, and that we would revisit this conversation at a later time. And after that, I was not allowed to wear anything. My mom was an angel.
I'm surprised
honestly,
she kept her cool. Because the
she
F word
crushed
on
it.
someone's child?
Mm.
Yeah.
No
You were
thought.
a minor.
I was a baby. I was literally a baby. And still, honestly, to this day, when I'm getting, and this is like what you said, like one comment will make you rethink everything. Still to this day, when I get a color that's not baby pink, look what color my nails are right now. When I get a color that's not baby pink, I'm like, oh my gosh, ugly. And when I wear a dress that maybe shows a little on my side, I'm like, scandal. So it sticks. I'm 27 years old. Like I'm fine. But yeah. So people nowadays, and this is just like a little silly goose moment for me, people nowadays are like, oh, my director's so strict. Are they? Because I signed a contract and I had to legally oblige by that for a year.
They're not strict. Okay. I had a client slide up. This is crazy. It's crazy. It's giving crazy director. And I asked how much I was allowed to say. And I quote, anyways, so my full T, because she replied to my little thing and it shortened her.
Yeah.
I had a director have all of us girls change in an open ballroom into our competition bikinis. I'm assuming change in front of each other, which, you know, we already have to do backstage, but in a ballroom seems a little sus. Also, wouldn't there be cameras? Anyways, into our competition bikinis, and one by one stand in the middle of the room, and she critiqued our bodies in front of everyone. This is the director. She proceeded to tell me she hopes I don't plan to eat this week because I was too large to be in a swimsuit, and that has stuck with me since the age of 20, so almost a decade. Then she sent another message and said, to be fair, she got her karma, and she's now in prison.
Prison?
I'm trying not to laugh because that's not funny. But
no, you can laugh.
But,
That's the worst one I've heard.
Prison. Girl, for what?
Yeah, but say, what's she in prison for?
I don't know. I'm going to have to go back to the Instagram message and see. I feel like that might be too telling. So we'll.
Just so everyone knows, Wynn said that in the volunteer system, the staff is required to clear a sex offender background check, which I think should be across the board with everybody. Thank you.
I think that should just be a given. And I think directors should have to go. I think anyone who has any contact with any of the young women should have to go through that. And I will say one of the big other things, never can you be alone with a woman by herself in a room. You just don't do that. So if you're going to have a discussion and you need to have a one-on-one, you do it in a cafe somewhere, or you do it in the hotel lobby where everyone can see you, because the chance of something going wrong is just way too high. And in a litigious society, it's just not the right thing to do. I just wanted the karma aspect of that last story. I was beginning this episode thinking I've heard everything under the sun. Nothing will shock me. I was wrong. Okay. Mm-hmm. But I will say I had one experience with a director he was in Texas, but he had a new system, and the system had been brought over to Australia. And the director was a piece of work. All right. And this international director used the same word that Kenzie said, the S word, and the W word, right? Sweating like a you-know-what in church, to one of his own title holders. Called her out on social media, calling her that, put up a photo where he photoshopped her out and then posted it in public. And then someone commented under, I have this so emblazoned in my mind, I screenshot it, I still have it to this day. Someone said, what's going on? And international director wrote back, and I quote, I deleted a W, you know what? Okay. Now, there was a huge falling out. The title holders, vacated their positions as they should. And by the way, if that's happening a lot, that's clue, right? You don't vacate normally for good reason, unless it's like a career. I want to be clear. Sometimes it can be, okay? Mm-hmm. My friend at the time was offered the vacated role, the vacated title. She took it, right? And I said, hang on, you saw what he wrote. I thought you were about women's empowerment. Her defense for taking over was, oh, but he's gay. He says things like that. I'm like, no. But karma-wise, what happened? the national director here, who was a piece of work, her new title holder backstabbed her, took the system over from her. That system then crumbled into the dust, has never been heard of since. That international system doesn't exist either. And I will say, when this backstabber walked on stage in her gown, she tripped over 3 times. And you know, when you hit the deck on your knees and you like, bang, it's not a dainty fall. I had to do everything in my power not to laugh. Because the person next to me was a person who had been called an S and a W. And she was a sort of woman, kind of like Morgan. Nothing held back. So when that person went down, she was like, ha, ha, ha. And I'm like,
yes. Listen,
3 times.
That girl had been put through it.
No, her heel got stuck in a hole between 2 pieces of board. So I like to think karma actually exists, because I don't want to have to go after anyone. But
It does.
God gets his lick back, son. He will.
I hope so.
Catch you, and I love it. I love it. Directors are wild.
And can we also just say, for anybody that maybe is not aware, somebody's sexual orientation does not excuse
It doesn't. It shouldn't be a factor.
their way they speak.
No.
None of that.
No.
Just
No.
put that out there.
No.
Can I
That's crazy.
expanding on that concept? Sometimes people are giving excuses that it's a pageant thing or that's the way it's done in pageants. I don't buy that at all.
No, we're
Okay,
all people.
Should be kind
you're
to people.
working with people, right? So I think just a bit of common sense. I mean, look, this goes without saying. I know we've talked about some wild things today. There are a lot of good people. I hope this goes without saying. A lot of good people in pageants. What I've always said is, if you find a good director, for example, you stick with them. Doesn't matter if it's not the biggest system in the world. Stick with them. If you want to compete for the biggest system, but the director of that system ends up being not so great, you need to be aware that it's like what I said with Kenzie, like, I'll support you, but you just got to be aware that person, maybe you won't have the greatest experience. That all being said, you really need to know, and I know this can be difficult, know what's right and know what's wrong. And I'm not going to throw these people under the bus, but I will say, if you ever need someone just to vet something that doesn't sound right, like some of the stories we've heard, can you please just send me a DM, and I will keep it anonymous. I've done this in the past, and I will do my best. And I will say I won't charge you for it, because if it's something like this, I don't feel right taking someone's money with some of these stories. And I will walk you through, and I'm not going to say go to bat for you, but I will at least guide you through. And I say this as having done it before. We had a final horror story for tonight. A national title holder over here, I won't disclose who, she won a very big title here in Australia. The director, literally after she won, went up to her and said, I wanted someone else to win. Great. Tried to steal this person's parents' Uber on the way back, got in, and then was told to get out. And then she had a tantrum, and then tried to prevent the title holder from competing overseas at the last minute by claiming she had seduced another contestant's boyfriend, which wasn't the case. That boyfriend was mucking around and she didn't know. And that person wasn't even a contestant. I kid you not, I'm not making this up. Ended up in a legal case with one of the most high-powered entertainment lawyers in Australia. And that director went bye-bye. So if you need help like that, let me know, because someone needs to do it, and it ain't pretty. It's not something that we like to discuss, but I also don't want it happening anymore. I don't want anyone getting an eating disorder. I don't want young women being yelled at by some fat man on the other side of the phone, or anyone for that matter. And certainly when it goes to the extent that people are self-harming or worse, please don't tell me that I'm dramatizing it, because even if one person ends up with something like an eating disorder or worse, that's one too many.
It's so real.
Practice. I can't stand when people go, oh, but there are a lot of good people. I know, but there are some bad eggs that need to be pulled out and thrown away. And it's like, I don't know, it's a bad analogy, but there's one bad apple in a bag of 10? Are you really just going to chow down on all the apples and go, well, 9 are great. The 10th one with a worm in it, that's fine because 9 were good. I don't think so. Okay. So again, sorry, soapbox moment, but these horror stories, we're sharing them for a reason. And if something like that happens to you, you can certainly message me. I know Morgan deals with a lot of this stuff behind the scenes. I'm sure Kenzie has as well. Okay. And Peyton's a very sympathetic shoulder and obviously has very strong morals and values. So I like to say that if anything like this comes up with you and you need someone to talk about it with in confidence, then DMs are always open. Yes. Just before we wrap up, that was quite an episode. Morgan, what do you got coming up next week? I need to please.
Tomorrow's my birthday, so I'm doing that, I guess. Don't really have any big plans other than going out to lunch downtown, and maybe dinner. So tomorrow's my birthday, and then I have Queenie Boppers competing all over the country next, not like this weekend because this is over, but next weekend. Queenie Boppers competing. So I will be probably logged into 3 separate computers, 2 cell phones, and maybe a TV trying to stream all of it at the exact same time. So pray for me. I feel like a man on Sunday trying to watch all of the NFL games at once. So yeah, it's officially go time with these girls. Like it's here. I'm a man. Like I am. It's everything we've worked for has finally come to fruition. So it is game time. And also, just a little note for anyone, because I know that USA has officially announced their open casting, like open call states. I say this with so much love. If you intend to apply, you need to prepare now like you are going, because if they give you the go ahead and you get that call, your interview needs to be on point. Your walks need to be ready. And whatever your body goals are, you need to be having achieved them or close to achieving them without having to hustle last minute the last 4 weeks. So open casting for USA. Don't know when that's going to be, but that's coming up. So I've got some babies getting ready for that too. Yeah. That's
okay. So cool. So with that coming up, and I know America's around the corner. So for those of you who don't know, Morgan's a personal trainer. She's the best. Go see her if you need to get in shape. Kenzie is a coach as well, and I'm a coach. So if you need help, send either of us a message. I will say also, if you need help with a video, if there's like a sizzle reel or a video that you need to do to camera as part of the casting call, because there was, I think there may have been last year, but certainly videos are coming more and more into vogue. Please don't, 2 mistakes. Don't spend $10,000 on a Hollywood producer. Mistake. I can tell you this because Tom literally said that when I was interviewing him. But also, please don't look like hostage in basement situation where you've had no light since 1932. But I'm being real. No. Okay. If you need help with scripting the video and delivering something that looks quasi okay and real, but not, oh my God, it's the next Transformers, Michael Bay, $500 billion. I've done some content. Okay. I know. So if you need help with that specifically, let me know. Kenzie, obviously, I'm sure will be happy to help you. Send Morgan a message. Send Kenzie a message. Kenzie, what have you got coming up this week?
Yeah, lots of coaching this week. I'm taking a little vacation over the weekend, so I'm excited about that. Probably the first vacation in years that I've been able to enjoy, not be competing for something. But I have a lot of girls that are getting ready for the Miss Lumbee pageant here in North Carolina. It's like our mini Miss North Carolina, we call it. They also just got federal recognition at the beginning of this year. So it's a really, really big pageant this year. I was working with a lot of little ones today for it. They're super excited. So everyone sent all the good vibes. They're nearing the end of their pageant practice, and their pageant is mid-June. And then we've got all the Miss North Carolina America girls, teen and miss, also getting ready for the end of the month. So like Morgan, it's go time here in North Carolina, and we are fully ready to help you make sure you feel prepared and ready to go so that you can enjoy the next couple of weeks.
Great. So I've just popped up the Instagram handles of everyone on screen. So if you need to send a DM, do that. I will say I'm email probably better because I get a lot of weird DMs from people wanting all sorts of things. So email is probably better for me, info at the Pageant Project. But you got at Morgan Bonafide, and at Kenzie Hansley with 2 Y's at the end, KenZieHansley. Sorry, Z. I I know you guys don't say Z.
I like
Z.
Zed.
People make fun of me when I say he's dead. And Peyton, you can reach out to for emotional support. Peyton, what have you got coming up this week?
Well, speaking of game time, it is game time for me. So I'm not a coach, but like Adrian said, my DMs are also always open. I am just a friend, so just reach. That's good for me. I like that title. Yeah, it's crunch time. So I'm actually what?
Don't stress her out. If you slide into her DMs 30 days before nationals, you will answer to me. Do not stress her out. Don't you do it.
I'm not
Absolutely
I can't
not.
be stressed out at this point. I think I'm as stressed as I'm gonna get. Which thank
good.
God
Right.
has been extremely mild. So
Good.
I feel like I'm in a good spot. I feel like I've done the work. I feel like there's not much else for me to do that's new. So it's a bunch of repetition for me, which is completely fine. I feel very comfortable. Not that everybody wanted to know that, but there you go.
No, that's good.
I wanted to know that.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel really good. I feel really comfortable. I'm very happy where I'm at mentally, which is like a number one for me at this point.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, my send off is in what, the 30th? Is that 2 weeks from now?
13
Of
days.
this.
13 days
13
from
days.
now. So almost, so trying to find an outfit for that is going to be fun. And then other than that, finalizing all of the outfits for Miss Volunteer America Week, putting them all in a bag, counting all of my earrings. Yeah,
It's time.
we're here.
It's time.
So if you're looking for appearance ideas, apparently, according to Kenzie, don't wear the Giovanni with that skin-colored slit.
Don't do
apparently
it.
you'll
I won't wear
They
that
Oh,
gonna
one.
say
baby
you's
pink.
a hoochie.
Yeah.
You'll have PTSD.
I don't need that stress on me right now. So
Mm.
I'll decline that dress offer there.
I think it's funny, just to wrap up. Sometimes you guys, you very high functioning, high achieving types, you almost get stressed when you're relaxed because your default mode is to stress. And so when there's nothing to stress about, you stress about the fact that everything's actually going well.
Mhm.
Don't do that. Okay. When things are going well, maybe it's because you worked your butt off and you deserve every bit of success that comes your way. Please don't sabotage yourself by going, oh my God, I'm relaxed. There's something wrong. Because I know that some people are actually like that. And that tends to be a high percentage of my clientele and my friend base is people who are always stressed because I got to do something. I got to do something. Don't be like that. But yeah, forget what I said about messaging Peyton because otherwise Morgan will hate you for stressing her out. So don't message Peyton at all. She doesn't want to hear from you at all. I'm going to thank everyone for tuning in. Thank you to these lovely people for sharing their stories. I've been slightly scarred by this. I've heard some things that I never thought I would hear, especially that one about prison and the double mastectomy to sell things. We will speak to you next week. Bye for now. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you're a competitive pageant girl and you're after some high-performance pageant coaching, make sure to come and check us out at Pageant.Project.com, where you can start your journey for free. In the meantime, follow us on all our socials at The Pageant Project. Speak to you next time.